Mary Trump, his niece, mentions in her book that his father was quite rough on him in the course of his early upbringing, and yet at the same time, Fred realized that Donald would be a better bet to inherit and continue the family business. Fred Jr. wasn't taking to it, while Donald seemed a lot more receptive. On the good side, sort of, you can see Fred's sun is right next to Trump's Jupiter, almost exact. And in the other direction, even though not tightly conjunct, Fred's Jupiter is in Donald's sun sign, so we have a Jupiter mutual exchange that is very nice, signaling mutual support and potential for strong general agreement on life philosophy. Jupiter contacts always go a long way toward making relationships fruitful. Fred's Jupiter, by degree, even helps out Donald's chart in providing a trine sextile exit to his infamous Access Hollywood T-square, as Fred's Jupiter trines Donald's Neptune and sextiles Eris. Now on the harsh authoritarian side, notice a very tight conjunction of Fred's Pluto to Donald's Sun, and a likewise super tight opposition from Fred's Saturn to Donald's Mars. This is classic overlord type action, and you can bet that even as a toddler, Donald would have seen Fred Sr. as a kind of Führer. He must unquestionably obey and follow. Saturn and Pluto, when driving toward material concerns, as opposed to spiritual, are driven, committed, disciplined, but also unsparing, cynical, harsh, and corrupt. It's not just win, it's win at all costs, and if you can be cruel in the process, then even better. It's survival of the fittest, and to hell with all the rest. It is also a great place to get trained in racism, a we are better than those people mentality. If you are surprised about Donald's obvious racism, just remember that at age 22, his father, Fred, was arrested at a Ku Klux Klan rally, and that's all you need to know. Fred's Mars in Capricorn means he was a lot more disciplined and likely to do real work than his son, who just banks on the projected confidence of a Leo Mars to get it done. And Fred's Mars-Uranus conjunction in early Capricorn challenges Donald's T-square, Eris, Mars, Neptune, which is a source of stimulation, but also added to the harsh treatment and to the imbuing of a winner-take-all philosophy. Eris in direct square to Donald's Sun and Moon would have been another ultra-stimulating connection, and I'm betting this one was where Fred programmed complete and utter misogyny into his son's head. And this is reinforced by Neptune on Donald's Mercury for a scenario which is perfect to fill his head with visions of what is, what should be, what must be. Of course, these visions are all inside Fred's head, but this conjunction gives him a direct conduit to Donald's mind, and so it would have been very effective. Venus in the middle of Virgo squares Donald's Sun-Moon opposition, which is going to mean some conflict, but it happens to be in Donald's second of money, which was probably the main driver in their relationship, in being the key aspect of Fred's programming, and that Donald would have noticed how successful he was in accruing a ton of it, so it probably added further commitment on Donald's part. Of course, whenever you see this much square and opposition action, even when counteracted by very nice Jupiter exchanges to smooth it out, you're also going to get serious conflict, which, at older ages, is stimulating and can lead to growth, but at a young age falls too easily into power imbalances which Donald would have had to face, as his dad would mercilessly train him in the dark arts. Donald has a ripping Uranus in his own chart, making him instinctively rebellious, and this is really hard to control when you're a young kid. So I bet he consciously or unconsciously defied Fred and probably caught a lot of hell for it. In summary, this chart interchange, together with what we know publicly about their relationship, tells us that Donald is definitely his father's son. As a spiritual master I've studied said, you are your father who now lives in you, as you in some sense. This is more or less true in everyone to a greater and lesser extent, but I think in Donald's case, he has a lot of Fred in him, and Fred can be very proud of the continuation of his genes. Unfortunately for the rest of the world, this is very bad news, because this way of being and expressing is not conducive to the harmony and well-being of the common good. Rather, to my understanding, it is an expression of malevolent self-serving individuality that in traditional Catholic religion terms reminds one of the devil himself.